Former ANC Secretary General Magashule has 7 days to explain why he shouldn't be expelled from the party. The ANC's National Disciplinary Committee has found Magashule guilty on 2 charges. One concerned his unilateral issuing of a letter to suspend party President Cyril Ramaphosa. Current ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula has briefed the media at Luthuli House today, and SABC News senior reporter Samgele Masego was there and joins us in studio now. Samgele, it's quite a very big development, particularly when you think of how dramatic that moment was when he issued that suspension letter. There were letters going back and forth. He's been given a deadline of 7 days. Has he said anything at all?
At this point in time, the former Secretary General of the African National Congress, Magashule, has not said a word. He's pretty much very mum on this pending expulsion from the African National Congress, which the ANC's National Disciplinary Committee has given him 7 days since his notification yesterday and today of him being found guilty of contravening the ANC constitution when he issued out that letter suspending the party's President Cyril Ramaphosa, which did not have the endorsement or the recommendations of the National Working Committee of the ANC. Subsequently, that would require an official stamping of that recommendation and rectifying that particular decision by the National Executive Committee of the ANC. That did not take place. It did not have the endorsement of the officials of the governing party. He was then tasked with publicly apologizing to the President of the African National Congress and to the ANC membership, which he did not do. So on both charges that he faced on contravening the ANC constitution, he was found guilty. The National Disciplinary Committee has given him 7 days to stipulate on why the harshest sanction of an expulsion should not be sanctioned upon him. He's not yet said anything. He did and was part of the NDCA hearing, which took place virtually with him earlier on this year.
And of course, let's listen to what came out from that briefing earlier.
The charged member is found guilty on count 1 and 2 as charged. The charged member is afforded 7 calendar days from the date of being informed or becoming aware of this funding to make written submissions to the NDC through the office of the NDC Administrator, Comrade Rahmat Lamera, whose email address is there, to show cause why the ANC recommendation that the charged member be expelled from the organization should not be imposed as an appropriate sanction.
At the same time, the Democratic Alliance, of course, Samgele, heading to court when it comes to the arrest of, President Vladimir Putin, and they say that they are trying to make sure that this actually happens should he touch down on South African soil. Of course, the ANC having a lot to say on that.
The ANC has a lot to say on that, but they speak with a forked tongue, specifically not only on, they are very stern and they're very clear when it comes to your old political imaginations of the expulsions, the suspensions of the likes of Elias Magashule, their own political imaginations domestically. But when it comes to their international posture, they have pretty much taken a central posture and a neutral posture when it comes, or perceivedly a neutral posture, when it comes to the war between Russia and Ukraine. You do know that the likes of Magashule, the Supra Muhammad Pilos of this world, the Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zumas, the Batabile Dlaminis, they are very clear that they are aligned with Russia, and particularly those who support former President Jacob Zuma. But you've got those whom are perceived as the reformists in the ANC, your Fikile Mbalulas, those who support the President of the African National Congress. You heard the ANC speaking with the forked tongue, not clear whether they are backing out from the International Criminal Court or they are not backing out from the International Criminal Court. The President of the country and the President of the ANC and the Secretary General got it wrong, when in fact their own conference resolution was that they are staying with the International Criminal Court. And thus now the NEC has taken a decision to ratify that particular decision, in saying that they are ratifying it in a way that they will still remain part of and signatories of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, but they will seek for immunities of heads of state that they do not have to arrest them like the United Kingdom when they come on their shores, which is what the ANC caucus in Parliament is trying to do now in ratifying that particular statute of the Rome and its effect on the South African Constitution, as the Democratic Alliance is arguing that with former Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir, when he touched on South African soil, there was that ICC warrant of arrest against him, but the South African government let him go despite the courts issuing a verdict that he should be arrested on South African soil. The Secretary General of the ANC in this instance is saying that they will not act in a manner that is devoid and is violating the Constitution of South Africa, saying that they will act if they need to act. But he is of the view that the South African government, through diplomatic channels by now, should have informed the Russian Federation of the predicament that South Africa finds itself in when it comes to the visit of President Vladimir Putin. As we speak now, a special envoy of the president, led by senior government officials and his advisors like Dr. Pechane Chauke, are in Russia, paving the way for the heads of state visit to Russia to engage with President Vladimir Putin, then go engage with Ukrainian President Zelensky in trying to find a solution between the war between Russia and Ukraine. But interestingly, let's just listen to the SG of the ANC saying that if Putin sets his feet on South African soil, the South African government has to act. But he speaks with a fourth tongue in saying, quote, "We will not be part of arresting a sitting head of state in our own soil," which pretty much saying that we don't know what we will do. Let's just listen to Fikile Mbalula.
By now, we expect our government to have explained our situation as a host country to Russia through the diplomatic channels, our predicament in terms of this matter of President Putin coming into our country and us being signatories to the Rome Statute, and where does it place us? It means if we come to South Africa, we have to act. And we're not going to be party as a country to arresting a president coming into our country. And that's why as the ANC, we have advanced with the amendment of the Roman Statutes in terms of ensuring that we also, alongside countries like the United Kingdom, which exempt people of special importance like presidents in terms of a possibility of them being arrested.
I'm almost certain the viewers are just as confused as we are about what exactly does that mean. I mean, will you arrest? Will you not? You're the governing party. What happens now? It's interesting. But very briefly, before I let you go, the Integrity Committee has been quite quiet on a number of issues. And of course, there was that, conference in December where a lot of people were wanting to see if the report into the Phala matter would be made public. And of course, we know what happened there. And then there's the matter of digital vibes. When can we expect to hear from them?
Those reports have been sent to the SGO of the African National Congress, the Secretary General Fikile Mbalula, Nomvula Mokonyane, Marupino Ramokokpa. They do have that report as those who man the 6th floor of Lechuli House as the SGO. Those reports will then be processed this month and be sent, and the Integrity Commission led by Frank Chekane will be part of the ANC's National Executive Committee by the end of June, which will then, they will have a press briefing as the Integrity Commission to give feedback on the Digital Vibes report implicating former Health Minister Dr. Zwelithini Mkhize, an ANC NEC member. The Phala report will also be forming part of that press briefing, as it will also be taken to the National Working Committee and subsequently to the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress. So it's pretty much going to be a jam-packed month when it comes to these internal reports of a wrongdoing within the governing party. And the much anticipated final report report of the public protector as well. It's a matter of days or weeks before it also lands. We've seen the preliminary report, which pretty much exonerates the President Cyril Ramaphosa, which he has also taken a decision to no longer take the Section 89 report, high panel report on legal review, saying that it is legally and politically mute now that Parliament has kicked it downstream and kicked it out, and basically did not give it any oxygen to breathe by it not being endorsed by the National Assembly, saying that in due course, should the need arise, he will then take it on legal review, which pretty much sets the tone of what the ANC's Integrity Commission report is going to be looking like when you've got one of the government arms, which is the Public Protector's report, preliminarily exempting and clearing the President of the African National Congress, and him no longer taking the Section 89 report. It pretty much tells you that the steam has pretty much died down.
It's going to be it's going to be a very interesting one to look at. But now you have the immediate task of deciphering what that soundbite was all about. The arrest. We are not going to do it. They must act. All of that, I'm tasking you.
They are confused. Forgive them, shame. They are confused.
I'm tasking you with giving us more on that. Thank you so much. That is our very own Samgela Masego, SABC News senior reporter.